This is session 7 of the online traffic generation and SEO training. In this session, you're going to learn about online software marketing.
So you can quickly create or take existing software that has rights and you can distribute it online for viral traffic and incoming backlinks. And if you will recall the search engine optimization training I went through, backlinks are really important to your overall success with getting your website ranked in the search engines for various keyword phrases. Search engines look at backlinks as votes for a website, and so this is one more process, just like press release marketing, just like article marketing, just like some of the Web 2.0 properties we've covered, and all the other content, even video marketing provides backlinks to your site. All these things also work synergistically to build backlinks to your website. And so on top of being able to give you traffic from the sites alone, they work to get you backlinks. So what we're talking about here is how you can get traffic from software directories. So basically you create a special software file called a pad file, and I'm going to go into that in detail here, for submission to the software directories. And what happens is the software directories, just like article directories, just like press release sites, just like video sites, they do a great job of using their title tags, which if you will recall from the search engine optimization training, title tags are what you see in the top left-hand corner of your browser. So the keywords you see up there for any website is the title tags. You want to have keywords up there. And so if you do the strategy correctly, you can actually name your software after the keyword phrases that you're trying to rank for, and these software directories will typically index your software and let you, basically have your software there. And while your software is submitted, they will also add a backlink to your site most of the time. Many of them will link back to your site because you're the creator of the software. So it's a really powerful tool for actually going about and getting backlinks and getting overall traffic. So the main point is, after you've created the software, you just work on submitting the software to as many software directories as you can. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see that submitting a software after you've gone through these steps is really easy, because it's usually just one little URL file that you have to go through. The software directories publish your software and then link into your website. So the software directories publish your software and link into your website, just like I said. And then the software is also, if you set it up like I'm going to share with you, if they open this little piece of software, which in this case we're just going to be using an article, the software itself actually contains links to your website. So not only can they get links from the directory itself, but if they were to download what you had to offer and open it up, they would actually see backlinks going to your site. So the software is branded with your links and information on them. So if a bunch of people download it in your niche, they're going to open it up and see your links as well. So it's another way to get some good viral traffic going to your site. So the main tool we're going to use, there's several ways to create software, and I'm going to cover a few of those. I'm just very slightly on those topics, because the core way to do this, and the easiest, simplest way, and that's really the key here, is get you guys doing something so you're taking action, so you're seeing results as fast as possible, and that's really what we're all here for. And so I'm going to show you how to turn an article into software. I know it sounds crazy, but we're actually going to take a little piece of an article, turn it into a software file using all free programs. So you can take an article and convert it into a software format that will work. Software formats typically come in executable formats, as they're called, .exe. I'm not really a software programmer or developer or anything. I just know that exe files, tend to be software files. So the first thing you want to do is go over to this site. It's a really weird domain name. I'm not going to lie about that. It's absolute free software called Website Zip Packer 1.3. Absolutely free. You go to the URL spadixbd.com/WSZ. It couldn't be a worse URL. I don't know why they created it that, but that's their link. So that's what you're going to go to, is spadixbd.com/WSZ. And I'm going to open that up here real quick for you. And you're going to see this open on my screen here. So this is what the website will look like, and it's going to take you through, this kind of what the software is. And you scroll to the bottom, and you're just going to right-click and choose Download. So you're just going to right-click and download the software. And just like any other, basically any other kind of program, you are going to, you're going to go ahead and open it up. open up the file, choose Run, and then go through the on-screen instructions to install it. So you're going to go through all the on-screen instructions and install that software. And so we're going to jump back here to the presentation. So once you actually have installed that software, so just go through the steps to install the software. The next thing you want to do is download, and that's a bad typo, I apologize, is to download a free HTML editor called Composure. Composure is a free HTML editor. Now if you have Dreamweaver, or if you have Microsoft Expressions Web Design, or maybe you have Microsoft Front Page, then you're okay. Then you don't need to worry about downloading Composure. I'm just giving you guys free tools, so there's no excuse for why you can't do this. All these tools are free. Everything I try to do for you guys, if I can't, if I use a paid option, I want to try to give you a free option, because I want this to be as painless and as basically to where the only thing that might be holding you back is a lack of time. And so really, if you can put more effort and energy into traffic generation, you're going to get more out of it. So go ahead and download a free HTML editor called Composure, and you can get it at composure.net/download.php, and I'm going to head over there right now as well for you guys, just so you guys can see where that is located. So we're over here on Composure, and if you do composure.net/download.php, and if it's helpful, I will provide these links below. What I'm going to do is actually turn these presentations into PDF files, and as soon as I can, I will get them uploaded on the download page also, so you can simply download them and access these links. You don't have to worry about writing them, but if you want to write down that link, you're more than welcome to. It's just composure.net/download.php. You're going to look for the Windows or Mac version depending on what computer you happen to be using. So you can go ahead and download that file. But what you're going to do with Composure, you just need to click right on it. You don't want to right click and download it. You just want to click on it, and it's going to take you over to a site called Sourceforge. Sourceforge is basically a website. It's a software site in itself. It actually is its own little software directory. But Composure is a free open source application for creating HTML files, so it doesn't cost you anything. But once you click on that link, it's going to open a little window, and you just simply choose Save File, and it saves it to your computer in a zipped up format. So it's going to save it in a zip folder. And when that zip folder gets saved all the way, you're going to right click and choose Extract All. And so that's again right click, choose Extract All. You don't even need software to extract this kind of stuff. So right click and choose Extract All. The next thing you're going to do is open up the file where it's extracted, and you're going to notice this little icon that says, it looks like it says Composure on it, and you're just going to choose Run. And it's going to open up the little software application for you. So just remember what folder you saved it in, and then open up that little folder. So there we have Composure open. I'm going to jump back here to the presentation. So install Composure, open up the folder and click on the link, and it will just open up. And then make sure you have both software programs open. Now, if you do not have, if you do have Expressions Web Design, if you have Microsoft Front Page, Dreamweaver, or another HTML editor, like NVU is another good one. So you don't need to rush out and grab Composure. I'm just going to show this to you in Composure. So for those that do not have a HTML editor, you can easily use one of these. So open both software programs is the next step. So that's what you do. So that phase, you should have both software file, both of those software applications open and ready to use. So the next thing is you want to open an article on your computer. So let's go back here, and let's go ahead and open an article on the computer. So I'm going to jump over here to my desktop, and I'm going to go ahead and open an article on my computer. And next I'm going to open up the file, so give me just a second and then I will show you my screen here. Okay, so here I've got my article file open. So this is my little article that I'm going to use. I've got my Composure document open, and I've got my website zip packer open as well. So So I'm going to jump right over here to the presentation again, and next thing you want to do is the article can be either an article you have written, or it could be PLR, which stands for Private Label Rights Content. And in this situation, there's actually no need for you to rewrite the actual article. So you can actually, if you have the rights to use these articles in any way you want, then you have the rights to do what you want with these articles, to create mini software applications. So this is a really cool system. So you want to open the HTML editor, the Composure, and copy and paste the article into the file. So I'm going to show you that step next. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually taking the article. So I'm going to grab it here. But first what I want to do is I've got the article open here in a Word document, and I want to open a Notepad file. So you can access a Notepad file by, if you're using Windows, right there in the Start menu, look for Notepad. You probably know where it is. If you're using a Mac, it's going to be somewhere in your main files. A Notepad, TextPad file is all you're looking for. And you want to take the article. Most articles, if they're private label rights, articles you've written them in a Word document or something of that nature. So you want to take all that, highlight it all, right-click, and copy the article, and copy it over to the actual TextPad file. And there's a reason I do that, and that's because I want it to display correctly. So in this TextPad file, I want to choose word wrapping, make sure word wrapping is off, and so that will make everything extend all the way over here, so you'd have to scroll all the way. And the reason is we're not here to read the articles. This is just to help with formatting the article, because you want to make sure that there's a space between lines, so that it flows correctly, so that it looks okay. So we're going to put actually space between each one of these bullets. So all I'm doing is doing an enter key. So every line is a paragraph. So if you can envision that, that's what you're seeing on your screen here. Every single line is an individual paragraph. Okay. And I forgot to copy that over. Okay, so why we're doing this is because if you copy and paste from a Word document, it can do some real funny things in HTML files. So now that I've got it all highlighted, I'm just going to copy, or I could choose Edit, Select All, and then Edit, Copy. So I'm going to come over here and move it over now. So I've got the NVU file right here. I'm going to right-click and paste it in there. So there you go. So now this little HTML file is coming together. So it's been copied and pasted. Now, one thing you want to do here is we want to format this text. So just hit Control A, or you could choose Edit and then choose Select All again to highlight everything. And what you're going to do is, if you want to change the font on NVU, you just come over there to where it says, it'll say mixed, or it says font sometimes. If you're using any of the other editors, they will say font up there as well. So we're over here on NVU. I'm going to choose the font that I want to use. I like Arial font. I think it looks clean and it's easy to read. So we're just going to use Arial in this case. And the next thing that you want to do is, I'm going to jump back to the slide here and show you what the next step is. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add a link to your site at the top of the article and a good call to action. So you want to add your link with a really good call to action. So that's the next process. And then you also want to add a link and a call to action at the end of the article. And the reason is that you want people to open up the software application, and you want them to be able to actually open up the software application and actually get a live link, to go into your website, because that's the whole point. If they open the software, you want them to end up on your website. So I'm going to show you how to do that, just so there's no questions. So what I'm going to do here is open up the NVU software again, and I'm just going to hit the enter key a couple times, and I'm going to choose, a catchy headline. So discover, because this is for a golf website that I have, discover how to improve, and I know nothing about golf, I'm just being an affiliate for this example. So discover how to improve your golf game and perfect your golf swing today. Visit www.firstgolftips.com. So what I'm going to do here is highlight all that text, and I just hit this B to make it bold, and it's the same function in the other web editors. It's going to be, B for bold or something of that nature. And in Composure, it's really convenient. You could just double click and enlarge the font. And in the other ones, typically they're going to look like Microsoft Word, where there's a drop-down menu and you can adjust the font. So I'm going to make this font good size so it stands out. There we go. And I'm going to actually take this font and align center. So just like I was in Microsoft Word again, I'm aligning it center. And the next thing I'm going to do is highlight all that text. I want the whole thing to be clickable. I'm going to highlight it all, and you're going to look for something that says either link or it's going to say insert, and it'll say like hyperlink. So in this case, I'm just going to choose link. Composure calls it link. Some will call it hyperlink. So the hyperlink part, you just type in where it asks you to type in where the link's going to go to. And then I select OK. So now that is linked up there. And I'm going to take the exact same thing I did at the headline and put it at the footer of the article, because you want them to be able to have the call to action if they read all the way through. So you don't want them to have to scroll up or down to see your call to action, because the whole point is to get them on your site as fast as possible. So there it is at the top and the bottom. Now, since this article is being turned into an actual piece of software, you don't need to worry about search engine indexing and all that stuff. So that's why you can just grab the PLR content and use it as its own. You're not really submitting this to article directories, you're submitting it to software directories as an executable software file. So keep that in mind. So we're going to jump back here to the presentation. And I just realized I did that without showing you guys my screen, so I do apologize. What I was doing during that time was actually taking this font here, and basically I was taking the font and going through and putting in, discover how to improve your golf game. I put in my call to action. I highlighted it all, and I made the font bigger by choosing that. I made it bold right here. And then I went in and I linked it up by choosing the link key and putting in my URL. And then I copied and pasted this at the bottom. And the good news for you is that this was all captured on the recording. So I do apologize, that small little part was not probably seen by you guys. So I do apologize for that. But I'm going to jump back here to the presentation and let you guys, we'll continue on here. So at this phase now, you've got your article into your HTML editor, you've changed the font of it, and the next thing we need to do is save the HTML file and then open the new website zip packer software. So we're just going to open up that file. Okay, so I'm over here in the NVU file. I'm going to choose File, Save As, and it's going to ask you to enter a title if you're using, if you're using Composure. The other ones might ask you for something else, but I'm going to call it, let's just call it Golf Swing Tips Article, and just choose OK. And now it's going to ask you for what to call the HTML file. So I'm going to save this in an actual folder called Golf Software. So I'm going to look for that folder on here. And when you name your file name of any HTML file, when you're naming it, you want to avoid having spaces in there, and you want to include, in this case you don't need to include dashes, you want to just run everything together. So we're just going to call this Perfect Golf Swing Tips. Perfect Golf Swing Tips is what we're going to call it. So we're just going to save that. So I've saved that file, and I'm going to show you where it is actually saved. So here it is actually saved. Okay, so that was the test I was running again, but this is the file that I just saved. So there's the little HTML file, and if I were to double click on that, notice that's what would display. So this is what would display, and if you were to click on that, it would take you right over to the little niche review site that I have in the golf niche. So there it is. So we can come right back over here to the NVU file, and I'm going to show you again where it's located. So there's the HTML file, and the next phase of this process is to go ahead and choose the actual, there we go, the actual website zip packer software program. So that's what we're going to choose here. So what you want to do here is choose Wizard when you're using this software. So we're going to just use Wizard. So you want to click on Wizard icon and then choose Next. And where it says Homepage, all you're looking for is the HTML file that you just saved. And you can just navigate around your computer till you find it, just as if you were attaching an email. So there it is. I'm just going to double click on that and I'm going to choose Next. And with the WSZ file that you have here, WSZ software, where you're actually turning the HTML file, so the article turned HTML file turned into an actual executable file, is going to now become your software. So you're going to just choose exe format and you're going to select output file. So you're going to go ahead and, as for output file, you want to call the name of the software, whatever keyword phrase it is that you're going after. So in this case it's Perfect Golf Swing Tips, and we're going to just call it Perfect Golf Swing Tips because that's what the software is going to become. It's going to become perfectgolfswingtips.exe. So whatever you type in there, you have to have an output folder. So you have to choose output file, type in your core keyword phrase right there, and then you're going to select Next. And the next thing you're going to do is just leave all this as the default. I don't mind if they can copy and paste the article, and because it's got your link in there, so that's okay. So just choose Next. Expiration, set that to never in this situation. You don't want to password protect it because you want them to be able to see the article and click on the link, and then just choose Next. Okay, so ready to go. So now we're just going to choose Next and just keep going through, and then it says start the building process now. So I just chose Finish, and the software is done, so I just choose Finish here, and you're going to see an example right there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go right over to the actual folder where my article was saved, and what you're going to see here is that the article itself is now turned into a little software application. So if you open that, notice that little exe file, it has now been turned into an actual executable software format. So there you have it. You can click on the link and go right over to the particular golf site that I'm promoting. So there it is. So there's that. The next thing that you are going to do is, now that that's been turned into an exe format, you're ready to go through the steps in this process. So you're going to see here that, let's see here, that this is an executable file. So there it is. So it is an executable file. If you want to make sure it is, just choose right click and choose properties, and it's going to show you as.exe. So there it is. So now we're ready to move on to the next phase of the process. So I'm going to jump back here to the presentation. And so there we go. Let's just go right back here. Okay, so excuse me. So here's some other software ideas for you. So some other software ideas for you on top of what I just showed you with articles, and then I'm going to show you how to go about submitting them. But some other software ideas besides using the article method is to use private label rights software. So you can buy it for a fairly low cost online. You can just do Google searches for it. And you can also find free private label rights software online that you can rebrand. One of them is called IamBuzz software. They give you about 15 applications that you can rebrand. These softwares are pretty much specific to internet marketing niches, but you can still do some damage with them, as far as using them to get a lot of backlink, a lot of exposure, and they're high quality software. And so there's my link for it, seocounts.com/IamBuzzPLR, and they're going to take you to what looks like a sales page, and you can actually go through that process, and it's free to sign up, so it doesn't cost you anything on their IamBuzz software website. So there's what it looks like. So they've got a nice little video on here, and let's just cancel that. And I'm going to show you inside my little IamBuzz software membership here so you guys can see. This is the free membership that I have with them. all the software is actually rebrandable, and they give you instructions on their website as to how to rebrand it. And I know they give you instructions because I actually created the training for this. So I actually created some of their training materials, so you will probably hear my voice at parts of their training center where I show you how to rebrand the software. So IamBuzz software, that is available there for you guys to check out. So there is IamBuzz software. So that's one of many things you can do to create your own software. Search for PLR. You can do PLR software, private label rights software, free PLR software, free private label rights software, try rebrandable software, whatever it is. These are all software applications that you can take and you can rebrand using the instructions they give you, and you've also created your own unique software. You can rebrand it with your own links and all of that. And I'm not going to go into detail on how to use that because, in fact, on their website it's free to sign up. And so I just want to encourage you to check out their site. It's free to sign up. You get those 12 or 15 software applications. I think it's 12 you get free right now. And the training's back there to show you how to use them. But if you do have questions on that, let me know. But after you've created the software, that's really where it's important anyways. But the main kind of software applications that we want to be creating here is the executable format style of software applications. So you can have the software created for you, or you can outsource this part for low cost. So you could actually think of software applications for your niche and go to getafreelancer.com, go to elance.com, or go to guru.com and tell them what kind of software you're looking for, what you want it to do, and that kind of stuff. And then just think of software applications that would help people in your niche market. So every niche market, whether it's weight loss to golfing to could have a specific software application. So you could have like a golf handicap score. You could have a golf calculator, where they can calculate what their handicap is, as a little software. You could have that created. You could maybe have a tool for a calorie counter tool for people. Maybe you're in the fitness or weight loss niche. Maybe you're in the bird watching niche. Maybe you could have some sort of software that they could track what kind of bird they saw that day or whatever it is. You can think of a tool that might work in that niche, and then you could go out, pay somebody a minimal cost, to outsource and create that software for you. But you don't need to do that. That can be kind of complicated. But to get you started, do as many of these articles that I just showed you, because that's really, really basic. And so this is just half the process, though, because once you've created the software, it's a little bit of a process to go through submitting it. It's not just like submitting an article. It's a little bit of a process to set it up, but it's really, really easy to actually submit it once it's set up. And I'm going to go through those steps for you, just step by step here. So the next thing you want to do is you want to create a software pad file, and pad file is portable application description file. So you can download a pad file generator software, I should have said, not file, from ASP, which is the Association of Shareware Professionals. And that link that I provided to you will be available for you guys to click on. But you can just go to Association of Shareware Professionals if you get lost and browse for pad site, and then you will go through the process. And then all you're going to choose is download PadGen 3. Download PadGen 3. It's a free software that helps you create your own little pad file, because it's a special form that has to be in. Pad file basically allows you to communicate to the software directories. That's really all it means in a nutshell. It creates a XML file, which is also known as RSS file for real simple syndication, and that's how they actually get their content in there. Just like an article directory takes your content by copying and pasting the content, these take your content by extracting it from this special file that's created with this pad software. But all you need to know is how to click your mouse and what tools to use, and you can create your own little pad file. So you want to install and open the pad file software and follow the instructions to set up your pad files. And then you're going to upload the files to your hosting company through FTP. So I'm going to go through the process of actually letting you go through the process and showing you step by step how to go about creating your own little software. So let's just open it up here. Okay, and it's going to be saved on your computer once you install it. Basically, you go through the same executable process. So I'm going to open up my screen here so you guys can all see this software. in action. So there it is. So this is the pad generator software. Now I kind of have it pre-filled with some information here already, but we're going to go through this step by step for this particular niche market. So for company name, what you want to do is include your main keyword phrase as the company name. And the reason you do that is because they will typically make the anchor text for your link, meaning the clickable text, like we've talked about, I think in about every lesson, where how important anchor text links are, because anchor text links help build up, backlinks to your site, and a good anchor text backlink is going to really help you as far as, basically a good anchor text link is going to help your site rank in the search engine. So your company name, you want it to be your keyword phrase. So in this case, the keyword phrase that we're trying to target is perfect golf swing tips. And then you just plug in your address, so that's basic. And the cool thing is, as you will see, is once you've already done your software one time with them, they will remember the information you've already put in there. So you see all my info here. So you notice, okay, so you just plug in your city, state, zip code, all that stuff. It's very self-explanatory. And then put in your company URL, which is the main link that you want them to go to. So in this case, it would be like your affiliate site. It could be your main website. It could be your squeeze page, landing page, Twitter account, whatever it is that you want them to land on. That's what you put in as your company URL. Then you put in your first name, you put in your last name, you put in your email. Again, you put in your first name, your last name, and email again. I know it seems kind of redundant, but there's a reason you actually put this information 2 or 3 times, and that's because the way this is set up, some software directories call it author info, some call it contact info. Some call it the same and they require it both times. So just bear with it. Even though it might seem redundant to be copying and pasting your email 3 times, just, don't worry about it, just do it. Basically how I have it set up here, because there's really no way around it. So just put in your email, general, support, sales can all be the same email. Your phone can all be the same thing. Your fax number, if you have one, you don't have to have a fax number. You could just, try putting in your phone number or something there if you want. So I have an online fax number that I use for my business, so I just put it in there. So don't get discouraged if you don't have a fax number. For program info, this is where you name the actual program. So I'm going to call the program name. You also want to call the program name your keyword phrase again. So this is going to be perfect golf swing tips article. So that's the name of the application, or perfect golf swing tips. Let's call it application in this case. So we're going to call it application instead of article because we want them to download it out of curiosity. And this is going to be version 1.0 because it's the first time you've released it. The release date could be set at any date that you want it to, so you could set it to today's date if you wanted to. This software is freeware because you're not going to charge for it. There's no need to. It is a new release. The cost is 0. Install and uninstall, that's the kind of file it can be. Or excuse me, it's going to be no install support for this kind of file. Language typically would be English if that's what you wrote the article in. And then where it says size and bytes, you're going to just highlight that right there. And you're going to look for the actual file. So we're going to find the actual file here. And let me look for it real quick. Okay, so what I did by doing the size and bytes is it grabs the exact size of that software, so the very exact size, and that's important for this tool, so that's why you do that. So this category class of software is going to be, you can list it under the best category possible. So I'm going to choose more hobby because it's sports related, so I'm going to look for hobby. It could be other, or it could be even sports. They don't have that. So whatever niche your article's in, try to find the best application. Even though it may seem difficult to find it, try to find the best category possible for your software. If you were doing a software for the internet marketing niche, it might be like a web development type software, something like that. Like if you were to use the ones I gave you at the IMBuzz software. But if you want to use like an article, just choose your best hobby. I'm going to choose hobby recreation because that's golf. And then where it says supported operating systems, typically Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows Vista Home Basic, Windows Vista Premium, all these options here I check. I check all those, Windows Vista, Windows XP, and that should be, you should be sufficient there. Windows 2003, Windows 2000, Windows 98, 95 will also open it, but those are getting pretty old. So you can just, typically most Windows computers will work this kind of file. You don't want to limit them on days, so you don't want to make them expire, the software expire. So once you filled out all that data, you're going to put in a description. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting. So inside your description here, you have keywords. This is where basically they're going to use these as tags or information that they're going to find. So I have keywords here. So the tool that I was submitting was a software that I had rebranded, my own little keyword software that came with the iMbuzz PLR as a freebie. So you put in where it says keywords. What you're going to do here is plug in, keywords. So I've got golf tips, golf information, golf application, and then you could just call golf, your main niche. So, and then for the description, learn how to have the perfect golf swing with this. Oop, they limited me, 45 characters. So let's try that again. So get the perfect golf swing with this application. Oop, with this software. There we go. With this tool. Okay, so they limit you, and you want to fill in each one, even though it might seem redundant. Again, each one is going to help you because every software site has a different criteria for submitting. So that's why you go through each one of these steps. So where it says, 80 character description, you are going to go through and type in a little bit more. So get, discover how to have the perfect golf swing with this software with this software. And when it cuts you off, that means you've gone over. So I'm going to just copy the last one, paste that in there, and let's say application. Learn 3 steps to improve your golf game. Okay? So if you wanted to write more, you could. For this example and for what I usually do, I just leave it, after this 250 character description, I'll just copy it in both of these other ones. But you're free to write up to 2,000 characters, which is a lot if you wanted to, about your software. So you are free to do that. And you want to just keep it at English, and don't worry about the configure file. So that's the description tab. The next tab is the web info. So the application info is going to be your main URL. So it's going to be firstgolftips.com. In this case, it's going to be your main link that you are promoting. And you're going to really want to make sure this is on your own site. So this won't work as well if you are promoting like Weebly. Try to do it like on your own site if you can. So that's really going to be the only way you're really going to see success. It's not going to work like it will if you try this on Blogger, if you try this on Squidoo. It needs to be your very own URL and your very own domain name. So that's very important, and that's actually essential. So make sure that you do that. So what we're going to do here is we need to get a little screenshot of the software application. So I'm going to show you what we can call a little screenshot if we want to. So there's a screenshot of the software in use that you see right there. So we're going to take a screenshot of our little application, and because it's important for the software directories. So in order to get a screenshot of our software here, what you're going to do is go over and you want to download a software called Jing. So let me take you to Jing, so google.com, and then you're just going to do a search for J-I-N-G, Jing. So you want to add visuals, so just look for Jing project. Okay, so you see here on Jing project, you are going to grab the free version. and you want to just download it for Windows. So just go ahead and download that software. Again, it's a free software that does screen capture. It does a great job. But I already have Jing, so I'm going to go ahead and just open up Jing right now. So I'm going to open up our application first. And we're going to just take a short little screenshot of the content inside here. So I'm going to open up Jing. J-I-N-G is what it is, and it's going to typically be saved under the TechSmith folder. So it'll take just a moment. Bear with me as it logs on. So it looks like Jing is conflicting with my, let me see here. Jing might already be open. There it is. Okay, so Jing is open here. So I'm going to just grab it, and this is how you use it. You just grab it, and you grab a certain, maybe a portion of this, of your content here, or kind of what they're going to find inside your software, which in this case is just an article, but if it was actually software, you would just grab it that way. So I'm just going to grab a small portion, and then just choose Capture Image. And what you're going to do is just name this, the name of the software or your keyword. So Perfect Golf Swing Tips software, and just choose Save, and you're going to browse your computer to where you save it. I recommend you create a file on your computer. It could be on your desktop, it could be in your core folder for where you're going to be saving these things. So I'm going to just create a desktop, and I'm going to call this Golf Software. You call it whatever you want. So let's just call this Golf Software, and we're just going to save this file here. So that is the screenshot that we needed to take. So that's what we needed to do. The next thing we need to do is a program icon. So I'm going to show you what a little program icon looks like. This is really, really basic, this step is. So I'm going to show you what the little icon will look like. Notice it right there. It is a very small image. It's about 30 by 30 or 21. It's very, very small. Very, very small image. So you can barely see it right there. So we want to just take an icon screenshot. So I'm going to open the software again. And you need these for the software to work. I know it might seem kind of annoying, but you do need them. So we're just going to take this little one. Let's just call it, let's highlight the word golf actually. So I'm going to choose a different one. And let's just grab the word golf. So I'm just grabbing it right here. And that'll work. And we're just going to capture the image. And we're just going to call this Golf Software Icon. And you could reuse this icon for all the golf software that you decide to create, or weight loss software, whatever the case might be. So you're just going to save that. It's saving these all in PNG files, so that's just so you know, you don't need to worry too much else about that. And the final thing that we need to do is go ahead and now create a folder on our computer and upload these files to our computer. So now that we've created these little things, we need to upload them to our actual server. So that's what we're going to do next. So what I'm going to do here now is open up a program called FileZilla. FileZilla, I believe I talked about it in a previous session, but FileZilla is a free, what it is an absolutely free software. It's a FTP software, and basically what FileZilla is it enables you to take content and actually upload it from your computer to the server, to the hosting company. So that is what FileZilla does. So it takes this software right here. So basically it takes the files from my computer, which are these images, and it's going to upload them to my actual hosting company. So I'm going to go into my hosting company, and FileZilla has tutorials on their site for how to use it. FileZilla is an absolutely free tool again. So you just go to FileZilla and you can download it. And most FTP clients can run you about $70-some. This one is absolutely free. But I want to show you some things that you're going to see in here once you get in here. This right-hand side is the server, the hosting account, and this left-hand side is my computer. And on the left-hand side, you browse around until you find the file that you're working with. And on the right hand side, you've got your computer files over here. So keep that in mind. Right side is, I keep saying that wrong. Right side is the server, left side is your computer. So right side hosting account, left side computer. And you're going to typically, in 95% of the cases, be looking for public HTML. If you're using HostGator, Bluehost, GoDaddy Hosting, really any of the major hosting companies, that's where you're going to put it in. And you're just going to navigate till you find your particular website that you're working with. And if you just have one website on your server or hosting company that you're working on, then that's great. Then that's what you can use, is just that one website. So what you're going to do is go ahead and create, by right-clicking, you're going to create directory. Right-click, create directory. And we're going to call this directory, let's call this directory Golf Software. Or excuse me, in this case, we're going to call this directory the name of the software that we're promoting. So, well, let's just call it Golf Software. And if you're going to create additional pieces of software for the same website, just remember you have to create a different folder. So we're just going to call this Golf Software for simplicity's sake. And then you're just going to double click on the folder to open it up. And notice nothing's there. So then I'm going to go right over here and I'm going to right click and choose Upload. And then again, right click and choose Upload. So right click and choose Upload. And what I just did by creating the directory Golf Software is if you went to firstgolftips.com/golf software, then you would see, these little images in there. So what you're going to do next is go ahead and we need to upload the executable format of our file. So I'm going to go browse on my computer for where that software would be found. So we're going to just look for it real quick. And so it's easiest if you just save it all on your desktop, so then you know exactly where it's located. So there's the actual file itself, and we're just going to upload it. So it'll take just a moment to upload that file. And it looks like it's almost completed. Okay, so the file has been completed. The executable file is now on the server. So, and in order to get logged into your server, you need to put in your host name, your username, and your password, and that's going to be slightly different depending on your hosting companies. And if you've set up your website already, you don't need to know this. You already know how to do FTP. If you've installed WordPress plugins, you already are all set. But if you do run into issues with it, call your hosting company, because the username and password will be provided by them, and it's going to be specific for your situation. I'll be happy to help you through that process if you do run into snags with it. But the first bet in that situation is to contact your hosting company, because they're going to give you the best support, because they know what it is, what your account usernames are, and I can't look that up obviously. So they will have access to that. So if you do get stuck, ask them, tell them what you're trying to do, and they will be more than happy to assist you. So they will help you set it up typically. So try that if you are having issues getting logged in. So there you have it. The software and everything is now uploaded there. And I'm just going to minimize the software, just log out here, because we need to come back to it here in a little bit. Now, what we need to do here is go right over to where it says screenshot, and we need to put in the information that we just uploaded. So you need to put in your URL /, remember we put it in the directory Golf Software, and then /, you're going to call it your keyword phrase that you've created for the image. So I'm going to go back to where my site is. So let's just go here to firstgolftips.com /golf software. And I'm going to create, it's called Perfect Golf Swing Tips Software. There we go, that's what it's called. So I'm just going to choose, right click and choose properties, and that's going to give me the URL, and I'm going to just copy it all. So copy that whole URL, go over to the PadGen file, and then just paste it in there. So notice how I just pasted that in there, and I'll do the same thing. I'll paste that, but I'm going to change the name because I actually called that one something different. So I'm going to go back over here and choose Golf Software Icon, for example. Go right back over here and then take off the Perfect Golf Swing Tips because it's not the same image, and we're going to paste that in there. And if you were to click on these images to make sure they went through okay, you see there's a little golf icon. And if I were to click on this one, there's the image of what's actually inside the software. And then there's the executable file itself. So you need to actually just take this executable file, and it's going to be in that same directory also. So let's see here. So right down here where it says primary download, you're going to copy and paste in, you're going to take this whole line, that whole folder that you created, so your URL including the folder, and then this time it's going to be called perfectgolfswingtips.exe or whatever you name the software. But in this case it's going to end in .exe, so keep that in mind. It should end in that. The pictures will end in .png because you don't need to format them. There's no need to. So once you put it there under primary download, put the same thing in there under secondary download. And then the final thing you want to do is go back up here, and what you're going to do is save this as pad.xml. So you're going to copy and paste the entire URL, and so what you should have there is first, your url.com / the directory that you created / pad.xml. And even though it's not uploaded to the server yet, that's the file that we're creating. And once we've created this file, we're going to upload it to the server, and that's why I kept the FTP file open. So at this phase, you should be in good shape, and you can always check these links by clicking on here to make sure they work. Like if I were to click on that, it would ask me to download that file, but obviously I don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to come right back over here to the pad file, and you're going to go over to permissions, and you don't need to worry about that. Build options, you don't need to worry about that. Affiliates, in this case, you don't need to worry about that. And you don't need to worry about that. So the ASP form. So at this phase you're ready to go, but what you want to do next is choose verify, and just choose verify. And what you're doing when you're doing the verify option, notice it was just right up there. I clicked on verify, or you could choose file and verify. And what you're going to see here is going to tell you, okay, Perfect Golf Swing Tips application. Perfect Golf Swing Tips is my business name. So it's linkable. It's got my name, my information, everything right there looks good. And what you're going to see here is it's going to tell you, in red letters, it's going to say if a field was left empty. And you're going to see that most of these, it's okay that they're empty. But like if you saw an important link that was left empty, then you could say, oh, okay, I better go back and fix that. And fix that. But in this case, you're going to see, okay, I didn't need affiliate information, so that's okay. Or I didn't need, an additional URL because I already used the two of them. So you're really just looking to make sure none of the core files are actually, missing. So that's all you're checking for. And once that goes through okay, you're just going to choose build. So build that. So where it says generate pad file under build options, I apologize for skipping that step, where it says build options, and it will direct you back there just like it did. You're going to select an output folder for that. So I'm going to choose on my desktop, I've got golf software here, and we're just going to call it pad.xml, and just hit open, and now select build, and the pad file was successfully built. So the pad file has been successfully built. And to find that file, we're just going to go back to the desktop here. I'm going to open up the software that we're working on. There it is. I'm going to log into my server. Now, if you're using FileZilla, another tip is you can click right there on this little folder, and you can just choose New Site and put in your new site's information if you want to. So then that way you can do what I'm doing, which is just drop down to log in. And just choose Public HTML. Select your website, which is typically going to be the name of your site in the folder. And we're just going to choose Golf Software. And now I'm going to upload the XML file. So remember now that we uploaded the XML file. So if I were to go back to this folder where all this is located, you're going to see here pad.xml, and it's going to look really, really funky and really, really weird. But don't worry about that. Don't let that bother you. That's what it looks like. That's just the name of the game. So now that your pad file has been generated, you can just minimize that screen. So your pad file has actually been completed. So let's just minimize that screen. And inside here, let's just, if you want to save it just for future reference, let's see. Save both. Okay, so you want to choose right over here, save both company and all that information. you can just save that for future reference. You don't have to input all the data again. So we're going to go ahead and close out of the pad generator software. And what we're going to do next is you want to reopen that file, and you're just going to right-click on the URL here. So copy that link over to like a Notepad file for easy reference. And what we're going to be doing is going ahead and submitting this to Software Directories. So I'm going to go back into the presentation here, and we're going to finish this out. So you upload your files to your hosting company, just like I showed you, and you test the links and then start submission of the software. So this is where it gets fun, and this is where it gets easy. So what you're going to do now is go ahead and go to the ASP, which is the Association of Shareware Professionals. They have what's called a pad repository. And again, these links will be made available when this comes live, but you're welcome to go back, pause the video when it's uploaded, and go back there. Inside the pad repository, you're going to click on Submit. And you're going to scroll right on down here to where it says, you're going to see it say, enter the 5-letter code you see in the image. So go ahead and enter that. And then you're going to go to pad URL, right click on that, and paste in the pad URL that you have, and then simply choose Submit. And it's going to tell you, you're going to scroll down, and in green letters it's going to say OK, loading the pad, no errors, verifying the pad, and record created, or record created, excuse me. And what this repository does is there are owners of software directories that actually come to this website to pull information from. So they will look for new pad files that have been submitted. So that's a really neat feature of submitting to the ASP repository, because there will be software directories that might come live on the internet a year from now that will pull your information, and so 6 months to a year to 5 years from now, if a new pad, or software directory file comes in, they might come in there, pull down your software because you submitted to them, and then boom, your software is now submitted to another directory. And so this is kind of a long-term strategy on top of being kind of a fast strategy for you as well. So there's some software that you can use so you don't have to manually sit here and actually go through the step of copy and pasting your URL into a bunch of different pad sites. So there's actually, and in some ways I really wish that some article directories would let you submit this way, because all you're doing after you set it up once with the pad file is you're just really, in most cases, have to just submit the XML file and you're done. So it's kind of a cool feature. So there's quite a few software applications that have been created. Most of them are paid for applications, but there's one called Pad Express here that they do have like a trial option, and you can just download that. It only submits you to a few sites. It's like 20 sites, but for automatic submission, it's not a bad deal. It might only be like 10 sites now. But you can download it, and you can decide if you want to use their service. But for their money, there's actually a better choice, and I will tell you that if you want to use an automatic tool. But they have a good service. So Pad Express is what it is, and you just download it to your computer, and then you can just open it up. And so I'm going to open my version right here, if it will let me still, because I also am just using the paid version, or excuse me, the free version of it. So we're just going to close that. Okay, yep, looks like my free trial has ended. So you want to use it pretty much right away, with Pad Express, and make sure you use it right away after you've downloaded it. But the first couple times you submit, you can get yourself some good fast submissions with their free option. They have a good free trial. Next thing you can do is go ahead, and there's one called PromoSoft, and they do have a free trial that works pretty well. And their information can be found at dvelab.net, dvelab.net, and just look for download, and then choose click to download. Now this is a software that I kind of recommend you might consider down the road purchasing, simply because with PromoSoft here, they will submit you for $95. It's a yearly cost, but $95, they will go out to 800 pad sites at once, 800 software directories at one time. So that's kind of a cool feature. In fact, I apologize, the number's down to 774. But they will do that for you. So that's kind of a really neat feature. so let's go, and what you're going to do is choose Create Pad once you open their software, and I'm going to go to my desktop and grab the software that I am working from here for this example. So we're just going to grab the pad file. Yes, I want to replace it. Here, let's go to delete that one. Okay, and then the pad itself, just choose Import Pad. So let's go over here to the desktop again. Okay, and then what you're going to do is go right over here. It's kind of running a little bit slow, which is always fun when they do that. Let's see here. So we might have to go out to another one. I've got a lot of files open here, so let's try closing out, and we will come back to that one. But basically, that one, you go through the process of setting up your pad with that file, and it just worked for me earlier, so I'm not sure why it's not letting me open it. But they have a trial and a full version. The trial version works with 30 sites at once, and so you can just download their software and go through their steps, and that's found at PromoSoft. So that's the software there. It's called PromoSoft that you could use. So that is that one for you. And let's go ahead and open up once again the presentation and finish out here. So here's a list of software directories that you can submit to. It's just at zappersoftware.com/submit-pad. And it's just a list of sites that you could go through and submit to. Some of these may or may not be ready to be submitted to, but most of them will be. So to show you how simple it is to submit, I'm going to just submit one manually here. But you're just going to look for, let's just say, choose your best category. So in this case it might be, let's see, mine's kind of sports related. They don't really have that option. Here we go, home and education, sports. And then the pad URL is going to just go right in there. And then just select Submit Software. And okay, and it may not, sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't, and I find that when you're doing a lot of submissions. And so at this one, the name of the game that I found is typically repetition. So just keep doing it. There's a lot of software directories out there, and there's actually a Google search phrase that you can run as well that gets you a lot of pad software. So just choose Submit Software Pad, Submit Software Pad into Google. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So into Google, just type in Submit Software Pad. And would you look at that? Before I go to the Google results, the PromoSoft thing finally loaded for me. And inside PromoSoft, it's going to look like this when you have it installed. And all the yellow ones are software sites that you can submit to. So you could just choose Select All. So just choose Select All, and then you can go through and then just choose Submit. So, and then you could also go in and you want to check the categories as well. So make sure that you're selecting the best categories for your particular market. So in this case, home and hobby, it's going to be sports related. So home and hobby sports related is what it's going to be. Pad specific would be home and hobby. Pad file categories would be, sports. You're just plugging in your niche market, whatever your niche market is. And then now just choose Proceed onto the sites and then Select All. and then go ahead and choose ignore and proceed at that stop, and then it's going to go through and just start submitting some of these once you hit the start button. So it'll take just a moment. It goes through the process. You can see it going on your screen, but while it does its thing, I'm going to go over to Google, and there we go. So just go into Google, type in submit software pad, and then what you're going to do here is select submit software and just put in your pad URL and then plug in the information, whatever niche market you're in. Try to choose the best category, and that's if you wanted to do it manually, but PromoSoft, $95 will get you 800 sites at once. So it all depends on kind of what your budget is. I would recommend you might try doing this, basically try doing a few on your own, see what kind of results you get, see, as you get the sites picked up in there, and then go ahead and look at upgrading, so there's no need to upgrade right away, so just keep that in mind. So there's really not a need to upgrade right away at this very moment. So there it is. Let's just choose a good category. Okay, so there you go. It looks like this one went through okay. So there it is. So the software went through just as it should. And so notice how some of them work, some of them don't. The whole point of the game is to be just patient with it. And on these actual sites themselves, just so you know kind of how they work and function, is if I were to go to the category that I just submitted to, which is home and hobby, they don't approve it right away. It might take a few days, but once you do it, you're going to start seeing some results in there. In your email inbox, you'll start seeing them sending you emails. But you can just choose, and actually mine actually went through just as I said that. Mine actually went through, and notice up here right away that top left corner is my title tag, Perfect Golf Swing Tips. That's my keyword phrase, Perfect Golf Swing Tips application. If you come down here, there is the information. Perfect Golf Swing Tips is the publisher. They didn't actually link directly back to my site, but you can actually go right there to download it, and there actually is, they're all set up slightly different too, to keep in mind, but notice there's a screenshot. They can click on it right there. You can actually, if you select get the full version or home page, notice how it actually ends up taking you right into my home page. So they actually did link it up, and you can download the software right here. And so there it is. So there it is, Perfect Golf Swing Tips application. All that went through pretty quick, and you can just go through using the Google tool and just find a bunch of these sites to just submit to, because all it is submitting one little file.